Welcome to Bay Focus. Thank you for tuning in this week. Well, you're in for a treat this week. We have a special guest to us that really has traveled across the country to come our way to share her testimony with us today. Gretchen Keskeys is with us, and she's a wonderful lady that the Lord has delivered from crippling anxiety and fear, and you want to stay tuned and hear her testimony and how God has led her. And God has also led her into a music ministry, and she's sharing with us today from her brand new CD project some original music today that you're going to hear that really complements her testimony. You know, periodically on Bay Focus, I try to talk with people and bring in music from different parts of the country or here locally, people that that we maybe are not familiar with or haven't heard before. So she's brand new to Bay Focus, but you are going to love to hear from her today. So stay tuned. Her first song with us today is called In Him. Here's Gretchen.
I searched for acceptance, a reassuring word. I covered up the pain, the sinful pleasures of this world. But when Christ came into my life, I could see the change begin. 'Cause everything I've been searching for, I have found in Him. I am never in need. In Him, His truth set me free. In Him, I walk confidently. Everything is found in Him. The world has a way of tearing down your heart. It makes so many promises that seem to fall apart. But when Christ came into my life, that shaky ground had been replaced. Because He keeps His promises, and He is here to stay. In Him, I am never afraid. In Him, I won't lose my way. In You, Jesus, I know there's a place in eternity with Him. Without Him, I fell down continually. With Him in His strength, we can do anything. I am never in need. In Him, His truth set me free. In Him, I walk confidently. Everything is found in Him. In Him, I am never afraid. In Him, I won't lose my way. In You, Jesus, I know there's a place in eternity with Him. In eternity with Him. Every want, every need, everything is found in Him. It's all in You, Jesus.
Thank you so much, Gretchen, for that song. And we're going to be able to hear more music from Gretchen today that really comes from her heart. And you're really going to understand this music more so today once we've talked with Gretchen a little bit. And the music that we are featuring today is from her new project called Gretchen Keskeys, Pure Hope. I love that. Pure Hope. So you want to stay tuned. And as promised here, we're going to talk with Gretchen. And Gretchen Keskeys, got to say that right. Did I say it right? I don't want to say Kresge.
Keskeys.
Gretchen Keskeys is with us today. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And Gretchen, one of the reasons that I brought you on today, that we're having you on the program, is you are so versatile in so many things that you do. We're hearing some of your music today. You obviously you're a singer, a songwriter, a recording artist, but you also have a history of working in media in like NBC Network, and also been an actress and working in California, and different things that have given you a different perspective in your life and an incredible testimony. And I'm going to let you share, because I want our viewers to know a little bit about you and your testimony, and a little bit about how you came to the Lord. And you have fairly famous family too as well. And tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you. And hearing you list off those things,
Okay, who's she talking about? I did all those things.
It is. It's all just like, it's all the Lord, because there was a time in my life where I literally couldn't leave the house. I was so wrapped up in fear, and to see what He's done, allowed me to do, it's overwhelming sometimes. And to have these opportunities to go out and just glorify His name and share what He's done in my life to hopefully help others, it just means everything to me. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. And you, like I mentioned, all those things. Let's kind of break them down, because so that our viewers understand. And I know we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but you do come from your father wrote the book, I'm Okay, You're Okay, well known in psychology circles. So you come from a background where psychology and those type of things are part of your life, but then you came to the Lord as well, and that became a part of your life. So how did you transition into that, and then of all things started dealing with some of the, like you said, anxiety? Because we want to get you to the point where you knew what pure hope, I'd bring you where you are today. But our viewers need to know a little bit where you came from.
Absolutely, yeah. My parents, I will say, my father's passed away, but really wonderful people, loving people. My dad, eventually both gave their heart to the Lord, but there was a time where they were very involved in what was called transactional analysis. And my mom had a writing background, and together they just put together his notes for his patients, and it turned into this big book. They hadn't even expected it, but when it took off, I spent some time away from my parents, and some things happened, and I don't really like to go back and blame things, and I'm not doing that at all, but I think some of these things set me up for some difficult times in my young adult years. And then there's something else that's kind of complicated about my background too, is that my father struggled with alcoholism. And so here he was, this self-help author. So my upbringing was unusual. And why I developed, when people have things happen to them, it creates a lot of complicated feelings, and a lot of it turns into fear and anxiety, and that's one of the reasons why I am so thankful for the Lord, because He is one who, where I felt like nobody could understand me, He is one who understands me. And but back to my parents, when I started developing these problems of anxiety and kind of OCD type behavior, I became so wrapped up in anxiety that I couldn't really talk about it with my family. I was just too, I was afraid. I was afraid what they would think of me. And it just got worse and worse. And I also had a lot of insecurity. I will go back. It's sort of a complicated story. It is kind of a complicated story,
hard
because
to cover it all.
Some things happened to me, and this is important. Some things happened to me in my young preteen life, some innocence lost, being around some people who were very unkind, said some really hurtful things as a young person. So I was very insecure. I didn't know where my value was. I was desperately looking for that. I developed eating disorders. I was always looking for it out there. And then I had this self-help background that was always telling me to look in. But the more I looked into myself, the more I found nothing there. And it just became more and more, there was more and more fear. And we would sometimes go to church, but there was no connection there for me. I was very wrapped up in fear until one day my mother saw that I was really hurting a lot, and she saw that I was really kind of dealing with some problems, and she came into my room and she said to me Matthew 11:28 and 29, come to me all who are weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in spirit, and you will find rest for your souls. Well, that spoke to me, and that was Jesus. And, my dear mother, who was raised in the church, hadn't really been walking in faith. But I think at that time, I'm so thankful to her that she saw that I needed help, because when you're involved in, I used to read my dad's psychiatric journals, and it was very, it's sometimes in psychology, they want to give you labels, and you have this or that. If I would have lived with my labels, I would have never gone anywhere. And it's like the more I talk to people, it's like in psychology, people, it's like they can only understand so much, and then they can only be there so much, But with the Lord, He never is tired of hearing of your problem. He's never tired, and He knows exactly. That's what I love about the Word of God so much, is that for instance, one of the problems that I've had in my life is a fear of people. And I don't know if that developed from early on with some of the things that happened, but always fearing people and their opinions, and it was always tripping me up. And I love that one scripture in Proverbs where it says, the fear of man is a snare, but, trust in the Lord will help you to walk upright. Or from the Message, there's a version that says, the fear of others' opinions will make you fall, but the Lord will keep you, on the right path. And so that has really helped me in my ministry.
Well, and where God has taken you from these crippling fears and anxiety. And was there a point, because now we're going to fast forward here, you ended up doing some things professionally, you did some things, you worked in news, you worked in for a network, you did some acting, you did a variety of different things, opportunities came your way. Was there a point that you felt that God, in your walk with the Lord, when you came to the Lord, that you finally felt, okay, I feel like God has given me victory over how to handle this anxiety, these fears, or is it something today that you still each day need to go to God?
Well, there was a point after she read that verse to me, and then I started seeking the Lord, where I became free. It's like my mind was so wrapped up in fear. It's like He unraveled all that fear in His love. He promises that His perfect love will cast out fear. And that allowed me to go out down to NBC by myself and work here and there. And I did feel this new freedom, but I started walking back into the world and forgetting about what God had done for me, and I wanted their approval, and I wanted this and that, and I was down in Los Angeles, and then that peace started leaving me, and I got to a place where I thought, you know what, this isn't the life I want. I want that. I want to serve God. I want to, and it's really hard living in Hollywood. It's not impossible, but for me at that age back then. So I moved back to Sacramento, and I rededicated my life to Christ at a Billy Graham event, and he was up there, and that was back, it's like 1995, and that's when my life really changed. That's when I decided to put Him first. It's the same thing with like my dating life. I'd been dating along the wrong man. I stopped doing that, and I waited for like 3 years, and He brought me a wonderful husband.
And your wife and mother today.
Yes. But I will say that some of the songs I sing, like this time, I'm still learning today that I can get my eyes off him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can. And, you know, there's some things that, and also in the other song, Child of the King, I do believe that the enemy knows your weak spots. And he knows the areas that trip you up. And for instance, you know, something that I'm constantly battling is I still deal with weight issues. And I'm, you know, finally I think the Lord, I'm just got to the place with him where I'm not, look, you know, I'll be doing really good and then I'll go, well, I need to go get help from that person or that person. No, he is enough. If I just trust him, he will keep me on the right path in his, you know, in his word. He tells us how to live our lives. And it's just, you know, moderation and just trusting him.
Okay, in the few minutes we have left too, I wanted to, in talking about this, and we've been showing this throughout our interview too at different times here, that her new CD, Pure Hope. We have a couple of minutes left to talk. This is a reflection of where you are today, correct? I mean, these songs are personal.
Very, yes, definitely. Like in him, that is all about, you know.
Have you wrote them?
Oh, all of them, yeah.
That's amazing.
Except for I Surrender All. That's a
I Surrender All. Yeah, we're going to hear that.
But I did add a verse to that. But you know, I do. I write them. The Lord gives them to me, and I'm so grateful because I love to sing, and the fact that I can share what He's given me through these songs means everything to me. And I love to go out and speak. I love to share my music. It's just whatever doors He opens, I'm always grateful.
Yeah, well, you have the testimony to share, and then plus the music with it. But has that been? I mean, the leap into music. Music's obviously been a love, but that you going from all the different things you've done, and then the music now, that feels like this is a season of my life. This is what I want to do, and that's an amazing thing to me. How all of a sudden you now are a singer-songwriter after all the different things you've done. To feel like you're at the right place right now for that.
He does, you know, He does promise us that when we, you know, seek ye first the kingdom of God and, you know, the joy of the Lord, you know, He'll give you the desires of your heart, and He has done it. And I think about it, I think, would I want to go back to being an actress? Would I want to go? And no, I'm very happy with what I'm doing, so I'm very grateful.
You told me the story before we did the show today. A little bit how it really was something your husband encouraged you.
Yes, he's my husband. He's just the greatest guy.
Give him a shout out.
Yeah, no, his name's Randy, and the Lord did. He's exactly who I prayed for. I prayed for a man that I could grow in my faith, and he just, he's so giving, and he has his own. He runs the children's ministry at our church. He's just great, but he just thinks he thought I should go out and use my gift for singing, and he's just been so supportive, and I'm just really grateful, and so I'm just.
Okay. Well, this is the short version, Gretchen.
There's a lot to share.
Oh, there's a lot, because God has done amazing work with you, and in the stories you've had to tell, even some of the shows that you've worked on over the years, that, you know, and people you've met in your years in Hollywood and all that. But we don't have time to get into that today. The most important thing is that God has, I want that to get out, He has delivered you from this absolute crippling anxiety and fear, and led you into a ministry, full-time ministry. There's people out there that need to hear that.
Oh, and that's my heart. This whole thing started by a prayer that I could help those people, because I know there's a lot of people trapped in fear, addiction, and that's what my heart is. I want to share this.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to be back again with more of the program, but thank you so much, Gretchen. You're going to hear some more of her music in just a moment. Hello, I'm Darlene Greenlee, and I want you to make room in your schedule each week to tune into Bay Focus. We are going to highlight local events, ministries, concerts. Reporter Brooke Larson goes behind the scenes at some of those concerts and talks to the music artists, local pastors, ministry leaders. Tune in each week. I'll see you on the next Bay Focus.
believe I did it once again. Not again, I can only pray. I fell so many times, and I'm ready for a change. And this time, I will trust you, God. This time, there is nowhere else I'll seek. This time, I'll remember that it's only you I need. And every time it seems I'm getting strong, another trial seems to come along. But when I look to other things than you, I think I finally learned that it's the foolish thing to do. And this time I will trust you, God. This time there is nowhere else I'll seek. This time I'll remember that it's only you I need. You are the one we can trust. Your plans are good for all of us. And this time I will trust you, God. This time there is nowhere else I'll seek. This time I'll remember that it's only you I need. And this time I will trust you, God. This time there is nowhere else I'll seek. This time I'll remember that it's only you I need. And this time I'll remember that it's only you I need.
Thank you so much, Gretchen, for sharing your music with us today. And wow, what a powerful testimony Gretchen has had. And I want to encourage you to contact her, check her out online and find her website and also on social media. She's got a tremendous testimony and also her music from this new project. And we're going to close out the show today with Gretchen singing again one of our all-time favorites. And I love her rendition of I Surrender All. God bless you.
And all to Jesus I surrender. All to Him I freely give. And I will ever love and trust Him in His presence daily live. And I surrender all. And I surrender all. And all to Thee, my Lord and Savior. And I surrender all. to Jesus I surrender. Humbly at your feet I bow. Worldly pleasures all forsaken. Take me, Jesus, take me now, and I surrender all to you. Surrender all, and all to thee, my precious Savior. Surrender all. And everything to you I bring. My cares, my heart, my life. I surrender to my King. And all to Jesus I surrender, and I give myself to thee.